Welcome to Mark's Name Joe, episode 1. My name's Joe. This guy over here, his name's Joe too. And today we're going to talk about WWE Payback 2020. The show so awesome, they took 1 week to build it. All right.
1 week.
1 week. I mean, SummerSlam was last week. It was a pretty good show, but why not have a pay-per-view now? I think they should do one every week. So let's go through the match card. Let's start with Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Probably going to end up on the pre-show, but it's there. It's the United States title. Who you got?
I really think the Hurt business is the biggest thing going on Raw right now. I mean, they are really strong, but they are pushing Apollo, which is awesome because that guy deserves it. Mm-hmm. He is fantastic in that ring. But I really got to go with Lashley on this one. I think it's time to put a title on him and have him have a successul run with it.
Yeah, so I agree. I think the feud's been decent, and I think they're going to decide to keep pushing this feud. And the MVP Apollo Crews part of the feud, I think that's kind of played out. I think Apollo is beyond where they're booking Shelton Benjamin right now. So that leaves Bobby Lashley. I think that he would do a good job with that title. I feel like I'm surprised he hasn't held more gold in WWE, especially on this second career run that he's had. But yeah, I do totally agree. I think Bobby Lashley's going to come out with the title. And do you think that we're going to see more of the Hurt business on Raw Underground while we're on them? They came in and they had this awesome shot of, we run this place now. And I don't think they run the place now.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They were on for week 1, and they were on this past week.
Yes.
There is rumors that there's going to be a underground title that's they work supposedly like the hardcore title.
Okay.
A little bit. So if that was announced, maybe I wouldn't be picking Lashley right now. But I think that it's too good. I think Lashley really could use a good run with it, and I like Lashley.
All right.
I think he's fantastic, but him and Apollo, they could go back and forth, swapping his title back and forth, and I would be all for it because I like both those guys.
Yeah, I feel like this match is pretty straightforward. I mean, either guy could win. I don't necessarily see anything crazy happening here. I mean, there's obviously going to be outside interference because I'm sure Shelton and MVP are going to be at ringside. Maybe they get kicked out halfway through. That might give Apollo the opening to win, but I really do think that this is a Lashley win. So now let's move over to the SmackDown side of things for a match that was announced last night for Baron Corbin versus Matt Riddle.
Baron Corbin.
You got Corbin on this one? The King's coming out with the win?
No, absolutely not. Anybody that blocks me on Twitter is not going to be picked. I'm going to go with that. Baron Corbin has me blocked.
That's right. You got a long list going there. You got Baron Corbin. You got Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. A couple others too. So, but yeah, I think that this story has been absolutely boring to me. Importance-wise, I understand that they want to get Riddle out there, and Baron's a good guy to push him with, but Baron is horrible on the mic. He just makes me fall asleep.
Yeah, he definitely does have go-away heat.
Yeah. So it's like, and I don't know about you, I'm tired of the King gimmick already. So it's I think that they want to keep pushing Riddle to make him into a star, especially to get the ratings in. Mm-hmm. I think Riddle wins this one easily.
All right. Yeah, I'm totally with you again. So we got 2 in a row going here. I do think that the only reason why Riddle's feuding with Baron Corbin is because Dolph Ziggler's on Raw. And we need some sort of welcoming committee from NXT. And I guess that's Baron Corbin right now. I guess that's the King of the Ring gimmick. You win the match, and now you get to job out to the hot new NXT guy coming up. But yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm over the King gimmick. I feel like I hate it more because what it did to his music, and I love Baron Corbin's entrance music. And I feel like just taking that stupid, generic, royal-sounding garbage they've got in there out alone will do wonders for his character. Leave the crown backstage, that'll do even better. I'd like a return to the lone wolf, and I'd love some live fans there to actually boo the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see where Corbin would go after this, because I don't think they've got him pegged for the Intercontinental title position right now. I can see a Riddle versus Jeff Hardy match potentially. Maybe Riddle, Sami Zayn, depending on whatever they decide to do with the title. But I can't see Corbin going up the card at the moment. So I feel like it's got to be a win for Matt.
The SmackDown roster seems a little bit packed right now. So I think some of these guys are going to move around when it comes to the rumored draft that they have.
That's a good point too. We could totally do an episode on that later too.
Yeah, definitely. All
right, so for my third match here on the card, I've got Rey and Dominik versus Seth and Buddy. So
I think this is...
Sorry, what was that?
Right now, match of the night.
You think it's going to be match of the night?
Match of the night. Yep.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I think it could be a very exciting match. I think the four of them are all going to play very well off of each other. I feel like there isn't a real size disadvantage for Rey to have to overcome. I feel like both Seth and Buddy are great workers that will allow Dominik to get in some offense and sell. I'm glad that Rey's in the match, because Rey adds more credibility and makes it okay, in my mind, for Dominik to beat a team of Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy at the moment. Because I'm really glad that Seth put him down at SummerSlam, because debuting in your first ever match and beating Seth Rollins, that would have been a tough sell for me. But I thought the match that they had was very exciting, and I'm glad. I can't wait to see what they do to put this together. That said, I do think that Rey and Dominik are going to come out on top this time, especially now that they're teasing another Rey versus Seth match for Monday after Payback, which that's another feud that's never going to end on Raw. But I do think that we're going to see Rey and Dominik get the win. What do you think?
Well, I was leaning that way, but I'm going to split it off from here. I'm going Seth and Buddy.
Okay. Just to be different?
Partially to be different, but at the same time, this is too good of a feud. I think the faces win this right now. What else are they going to do with Dominik and Rey? They could keep it going depending on what happens after the match, but I think that they want to keep this going. I think we could possibly end up seeing some kind of match when it comes to Hell in a Cell time involving Rey and Seth and maybe everybody else involved, seeing what, depending on what they're going to do. So I think the heels go over on this one. Monday Night Messiah.
All right. We're going to see eye for an eye inside Hell in a Cell. Take out Rey's other eye. Or does Seth lose an eye this time?
I don't know. Rumor is Seth wants some time off, especially with the baby being coming here. What, December?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. That would probably fit time wise. I'm not standing Becky so hard that I know when her baby's coming.
So maybe
not saying that you are. There's these Twitter accounts that are just going crazy that are like forecasting names and like their WWE career before the baby's even born.
I think this keeps on going. I think it's a good story. I could still watch another match, especially at Hell in a Cell. So I'm gonna stick with Seth and Buddy in this.
All right. So now on my list here, I've got Sasha and Bayley versus Shayna and Nia for the Women's Tag Team Championships. A match that I don't think anybody really asked for. No. A pairing that I don't think anybody's excited to see in Shayna versus Nia. Shayna and Nia, not versus. I mean, ultimately, it's got to end up being a match between the two of them. But this match is all about Sasha and Bayley. And it's all about if they're going to implode. I really loved the segment that they had on SmackDown where Sasha was staring at Nia and Shayna and said, she started her promo, and then she says, "And I will have my vengeance." But she says it glaring at Bayley. So I can't wait to see what happens. And personally, I don't like the prediction I'm going to make, but I think they're going to implode on Sunday at Payback. it's not going to be full. It's not going to be, oh my God, heel turn, who's face, who's heel. I think there's just going to be enough tension that one of them, probably Sasha, just drops off the apron and walks to the back, and we get new women's tag team champions, Shayna and Nia Jax. I really hate that I'm saying this. I try to get the hashtag hit the road Jax trending every time I see Nia on TV.
Yeah.
But I think because they don't really care about the tag divisions, let alone the women's tag division, we're going to see them put the belts on Shayna and Nia for almost no reason other than to further tension between Sasha and Bayley.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Shayna and Nia are going to take this one. I really don't think – I think if they want to keep the tag team belts relevant, they need to keep it on Sasha and Bayley, because right now they're the two hottest things on wrestling for WWE product, in my opinion. They've carried this COVID-19 period that they're in. Mm-hmm. Very entertaining, and I mean that's why they had all the belts at one time. So but prediction-wise, I'm gonna stick with Shayna and Nia. I think they're gonna win. I think they got enough heat between the two of them where they can keep a story going and keep those belts relevant.
Yeah, and the two of them, I feel like they could just keep marketing them on commentary as an unstoppable force. They can, actually bring back the relevance of Shayna demolishing everybody in that Elimination Chamber match before Mania. Mm-hmm. And then they could talk about how, Nia Jax is just insurmountably large. And, who could beat them for the titles? But I feel like that would be an interesting way to move forward.
I agree.
Speaking of people, it's like, who can beat these people? And let's look at Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. A rematch, which I don't even necessarily want to call a rematch from Raw, because was it really even a match? It was more of a, hey, we've got Keith Lee, let's tease him. Let's get all the internet wrestling fans riled up with new music and some admittedly lame new attire, and let's put Keith Lee out there in this feud. So what do you think about this match?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to call this match what it looks like I think on paper, I think Orton is going to lose to Lee. I think Lee wins, but I think Orton is just going to. All right, this is where my bold prediction comes in. So I'm going to throw it at you. All right.
Okay.
I think Orton ends up pummeling Lee. I think he ends up somehow losing to Lee. And I think that Lee is going to get his knocks and blows by Orton. And I think that Drew McIntyre is going to come in for the save. And I think when that happens, I think that Lee is going to turn on McIntyre, because rumor is they want him to be a heel. And when he turns on McIntyre, I think it's going to come out that Retribution is underneath Lee, and I think Lee's leading that group. That's my bold.
That is bold.
We already know that Dajkovic, whatever they want to call him now, we already know that he's in that group, and we know him and Lee are pretty close. They need a leader.
Okay.
And I don't think that anybody in that group right now is the leader. I could be wrong with this, but I think
I like it. That's not where I would take it, but I like it. Because I definitely did appreciate on Raw that Keith Lee was able to say that he didn't need Drew McIntyre to fight his battles for him. Mm-hmm. I love that. I actually loved Keith Lee's debut. I think they did a fantastic job with him. No matter what Twitter wants you to think, they put him into the WWE title feud with the two hottest guys on Raw, and they made him feel like he belonged. And that's been the MO with Keith Lee this whole time. He's belonged. Think back to Survivor Series last year. He pins Seth Rollins clean, and then he's in the final two against Roman Reigns, the company's golden boy. And he almost gets a win. He gets a believable near fall after a spirit bomb. And then we all know Roman was going to win that. But just the fact that Keith Lee was given that spot and given it that organically and made it seem like he just belonged there. And then again at the Royal Rumble, he just seemed like he belonged. Brock Lesnar bumped for him. He doesn't do that. And because of that, I think they've got rocket straps ready to go on Keith Lee's back, and I think we see Keith Lee win this match. I don't necessarily think the whole Retribution thing is going to happen. I think it might be an interesting dynamic with Keith Lee being a face, a badass face, if you will, and his alleged kayfabe best friend Dominik Dijakovic now leading this group, if that's the way they go. Because I can see him being the muscle, I can see him being the leader, because a lot of people are also saying Dio Madden's going to be in Retribution, which would be interesting to see. And I mean, he's been on commentary, so WWE obviously likes the way he talks. So maybe they give him the microphone. I don't know.
I just think
that still remains to be seen.
That group needs a better leader than what they've been presenting on TV. And I'm just trying to think where else they could throw it in there, minus somebody coming back. I know there were some rumors that maybe Rusev, but I don't think that he's the guy.
I think Rusev's done with WWE. I think he's had so much that he can't take anymore. He's said on Twitch that he's not a wrestler anymore. He's a Twitch streamer. I don't know if I believe him there. I feel like we're going to see some sort of Bulgarian name in the Impact Zone at some point.
He's also one of the biggest trolls when it comes to tweeting.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Oh, yeah.
He's all about that. I mean, but I'm sticking with what I said. It's a bold prediction. I don't know if it will happen. It's not anything I've read. I'm kind of just going with, I'm thinking they turn Lee and make him into the leader of the group.
So spinning off of that, do you think we see that Lee's the leader of Retribution at Payback? Do you think we see Retribution take off their masks after some beatdown? Like, does Retribution run in and save him from Orton?
Well, tell me if I'm wrong, because you're the teacher here. So I'm gonna quiz you on something educational, okay? Retribution and Payback mean the same thing.
Yes.
It's the same wording and everything. It's together in a way. Why else are you having a B+ pay-per-view to get people over without ruining SummerSlam a week after SummerSlam?
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. I kind of was of the thought that it was going to be called Payback after Roman Reigns speared everybody. I was like, I get it now. He's getting payback for, Braun just walking into his match, taking his title. I actually was even more into it when Sami Zayn's music hit during SmackDown. I'm like, dude's going to get payback for never losing the Intercontinental title. But that match hasn't been announced at this point, if it's going to happen in any way, shape, or form. It's probably a little too soon, seeing as though he just came back. And they kind of did a very weird job of reintroducing Sami, but that's another story for another day. But, I could totally see that. I do think we see Retribution come in for some killer angle at some point during the show. And I really feel like it's got to be here. Even though, this isn't the main event scene. I've got a harebrained idea for the closing shot, and Retribution has nothing to do with it.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so first off, Roman, Fiend, Braun Strowman, triple threat, no holds barred, even though triple threat's already no DQ, for the Blue Universal Championship. Yeah, I just ripped off Wrestle Talk. I called it the Blue Universal Championship.
Hey, whatever. You said their name. We give them proud.
I think the Fiend is going to win. And I think it's too early for somebody who has a new slogan of wreck everything and leave, because that's not what a champion does. A champion has already wrecked everything. He's not there to wreck everything. He's not there to break anything, to take anything that's not his yet. Even with, and like I sat there like this when Roman said, and that's not a prediction. Like I lost it. I knew exactly where that was going. It was written all over the wall, and it's amazing. I'm so happy for that pairing, but I think there's so much that they can explore there without Roman having the title yet. Now, my bold prediction isn't that the Fiend wins. It's how the Fiend wins. Okay. I have a feeling that this triple threat match is going to turn into a handicap match, probably about halfway through.
Ooh,
I have a feeling we're going to see 10, 15 minutes of the three of them hitting each other, going back and forth. I think Braun Strowman's going to have a callback to what initially got him over, throwing an announcer chair at Roman Reigns. I feel like we're going to see some cool stuff with the Fiend. But then I think the lights are going to cut out. And I think everyone's going to think it's Retribution. But then eerie music's going to start playing. Screechy violins, the sounds of buzzards. And a hooded figure is going to walk onto the entrance ramp. A spotlight hits them, a hood comes off, and it's Alexa Bliss. I think at that point, Braun Strowman's going to be Braun and the Fiend at this point are both going to be distracted. What I would love to see is, Braun is in the ring with Roman. He turns around, boom, Roman hits him with a spear, pins him, 1 count, kicks out. He rolls out of the ring and he starts walking up the ramp. Roman hits Bray with a spear. He kicks out at 1. Then Bray rolls out of the ring. They both walk up to the ramp to Alexa. They both drop to their knees, like their arms out, like following the buzzards at Alexa's feet, because Alexa is now Sister Abigail, Sister Alexa, whatever you want to call her. She is now reuniting the Wyatt family underneath this new scary Firefly Funhouse theme. And both of them then turn ominously, looking at Roman Reigns. They go into the ring. They demolish him. Braun Strowman hits him with power slam after power slam after power slam. Bray Wyatt hits him with a Sister Abigail. They could cut open the ring again for all I care. They could do whatever they want to do. And then, Roman's not going to get pinned, though, because Bray's going to put him in the mandible claw, and Roman's going to pass out. The ref's going to call off the match. And Bray's going to hold his Universal title up. Alexa's going to come to the ring. The three of them are going to celebrate. And commentary's not going to have anything to say as Payback goes off the air.
Okay. Whew. That is a hell of a prediction.
I think that there's a lot of moving parts, but I would love to see it.
But there's one obvious thing in all of this. Both of our bold predictions could come true. And also, we should definitely be writing for WWE. But
so, who do you have in this match? Who do you think is going to win?
You, good sir, forgot a very, very important part of this match, and that is the advocate himself. The advocate for Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
Paul Heyman? Roman Reigns is a Paul Heyman guy? Is that possible? I think that they're not going to put Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns if something messed up is not going to happen. I think that Roman pins Braun. It still makes the Fiend look good. Roman takes that title. I don't think they're going to put that. And I think that they're going to paint the picture. Whoever's with Paul Heyman is going to have that strap. And I think that this is going to be a story going forward until Paul Heyman turns his back on Roman, when Roman finally is getting all the cheers that they want him to get, and Brock Lesnar comes back and turns on Roman and goes with Heyman. I think it's all leading up to that.
Do we get another Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match at Mania 37?
Right now, I'm going to go on a limb and say Rumble. I think Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at the Rumble. And I think they still have all kinds of story time to tell, but I don't think that they're going to put Heyman with Reigns and not put the title on him unless it's some kind of finish like what you're painting the picture of.
Yeah.
It's possible.
The way I see it... Oh, go finish.
Okay. I have not been this interested in a WWE match in a long time because I actually have no clue what's going to happen in the main event.
Yeah. The trajectory that I see is kind of based off of how everyone thinks that Roman Reigns is a heel right now. I think that even with Paul Heyman, even with this attitude change, I think Roman Reigns will still be presented as a babyface. And I feel like because of that, they're going to have a little bit of the chase aspect of this, which would give them creative freedom to kind of let Paul Heyman flex his muscle to build Roman Reigns up to ultimately take the Fiend title at Hell in a Cell. I think that could be an interesting play.
Can you imagine Fiend and Roman Reigns in a Hell in a Cell match and just make it absolutely brutal. I mean,
as long as it's not Fiend versus Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. You know,
No.
we've
We
had
don't want
back-to-back years with awful non-finishes to Hell in a Cell matches, with Brock Lesnar tearing the cage door off, and then F5ing Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, and them calling the match off. It's supposed to be a blood feud ending. Like you're supposed to like lose years off of your career in this match, and the ref's just like, oh, they took F5s, we should call off the match. And then the last year was, in my opinion, still the worst thing that WWE's ever done with the way they ended that match. But we're not talking about Hell in a Cell right now. We're still talking about Payback. So you've got Roman Reigns coming out with the belt.
Roman Reigns wins it.
All right. So out of those 6 matches, we've got 4 in common, and we got 2 that we're split on. So we still could end up tying. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
We could also throw in our bold prediction as a win.
Okay, we could. So are you considering your bold prediction to include that Lee is the leader, or that we see just Retribution and unmask themselves?
No, I think that we're going to see that Lee's the leader. I think some mask might come off. It really depends on how they present it.
Okay.
But they need somebody that is big to be that leader. And I'm going to stick with it. If it's not Lee, then I did have original guess that it was Roman. But with him going with Heyman right now, I don't see him.
Yeah. I really can't see them combining those 2 gimmicks. Yeah. So I'm going to keep my harebrained prediction as well with the Wyatt family reuniting. Because I feel like there's nothing remotely close to the level that Roman Reigns is at currently if he wins the title at Payback. Because, it's just like, what do? You have to bring back Brock Lesnar at that point. But I feel like if there's a little bit of this time with a chase, there's also time to build up a Matt Riddle to challenge him. There's time to build up AJ Styles to challenge him. There's time you could do anything. Dijakovic, like Retribution could be on SmackDown. Dijakovic could be the leader. You could build him up. You could build up Otis if you want. You could have him cash in the Money in the Bank. I can't even say it with a straight face. But there's so... Do we think Otis cashes in this evening?
No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance either. I'm actually genuinely surprised they didn't do it at SummerSlam. After Roman had speared everybody and he was walking out of the ring, I'm really surprised Otis didn't come down and cash in. That would have been the time to do it.
I think that they're going to make a joke out of this and push this to the last minute they could possibly push the cash in, and I don't think he's going to cash it in. I think he's just going to be confused, and they're going to make it into a comedy skit.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate truth, but I'm kind of with you there. I've kind of been of the thought that he's going to cash it in for a tag team title match.
I'd be okay with
had
that.
A different wrinkle, but
if I took the tag team division serious, then I'd be like, "Oh, I'm cool with that." But half the time, I can't remember who the SmackDown champions are. So
I think they're Shinsuke and Cesaro.
They are.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I saw a belt on one of them last night. Those have been our predictions for WWE Payback 2020. Please make sure, as all the YouTubers say, we're going to smash that like button. We're going to give us a subscribe. And, hopefully you can find us on Twitter at Mark's Named Joe. No underscores, nothing fancy, just Mark's Named Joe. I'm Johan, otherwise known as Keep Up with Kayfabe. And
I'm Joe, Walk with Joe.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.